Hello, Jays Nation. Welcome back to your go-to channel, Toronto Blue Jays News Network. Today we have 3 jam-packed updates about our Blue Army, which came to notice just a few hours ago. These are game changers for the 2026 season. So, if you are a true Jays fan, you do not want to miss these updates. And yes, before we start the video, I have a small request. If you are new to the channel, then do not forget to like and subscribe so that you can stay in the loop with everything Blue Jays. Let's dive right into the first massive story of the day. Update 1. Is a super rotation coming? Jays re-enter race for ace lefty. Just when it seemed like the offseason was a wrap for the Toronto Blue Jays, the front office has once again surfaced as a serious suitor for the top remaining free agent on the market. We are talking about none other than the ace pitcher, Framber Valdez. According to insider John Heyman of the New York Post, the Blue Jays are among several teams that have shown concrete interest in Valdez. This news has set the market abuzz because, let's be honest, things had gone pretty silent regarding Valdez lately. But now, with spring training just around the corner, the spotlight is back on him. Here's the situation. The left-hander came into this offseason expecting to land a long-term contract, potentially the biggest pitching deal in free agency this year. However, the Blue Jays themselves played a huge role in ensuring that did not happen when they handed out that massive 7-year, $210 million deal right off the hop to Dylan Cease. That contract set a ceiling that was not going to be topped. Now, as Valdez has held out until just a week or so before pitchers and catchers report, his options have narrowed. It appears he is now looking at a short-term, high-average annual value deal. And apparently, the Blue Jays are willing to give it to him. You might be asking, do we really need him? On paper, Toronto's rotation is already loaded heading into 2026. We have Kevin Gausman, the newly acquired Dylan Cease, Shane Bieber, and the youngster Trey Yesavage as our headliners. We also have Jose Barrios, Cody Ponce, and Bowden Francis as reliable options. But there is one glaring void. We need a left-handed pitcher. Every single one of the names I just mentioned is a righty. Currently, swingman Eric Lauer is the only southpaw rotation option in Toronto. Adding Valdez would solve that balance issue instantly. Valdez has been one of the most consistent starters in baseball over the past 6 seasons in Houston. He is an absolute workhorse, approaching 200 innings in 3 of the past 4 seasons and recording at least 28 starts a year. In 2025, the 32-year-old posted a 13-11 record with a 3.66 earned run average over 192 innings. He is a 2-time All-Star and has been a top 10 Cy Young vote getter 3 times. Reports say the Jays met with him way back in November, and they could be circling back right now to close the deal. However, Blue Jays fans, beware. If Valdez is indeed set on a short-term, high-money deal, you just know big spenders like the Los Angeles Dodgers and the New York Mets will be lurking, ready to steal him away at the last minute. Other teams like the Baltimore Orioles, Chicago Cubs, and Detroit Tigers are also labeled as threats. This would be a massive move to finalize the roster. What do you think? Should we spend the money to get the lefty ace? That was the first major update regarding our rotation. Update 2. The bullpen beast returns? Why a reunion makes perfect sense. All right, moving on to our second major update. And this one involves a familiar face who might just be the secret weapon we need for the 2026 season. It is already February, and surprisingly, Chris Bassitt remains a free agent after putting up a solid campaign in 2025. The Toronto Blue Jays have a golden opportunity here. We should absolutely take advantage of this seemingly weak market for him and bring him back, but with a twist. We are talking about offering him a new contract to pitch out of our bullpen as a high-leverage reliever. Think about it. Bassitt was his usual reliable self as a starting pitcher last season. He recorded an earned run average of 3.96 and racked up 166 strikeouts across 170 1/3 innings pitched.
he made at least 30 starts for the 4th straight year, showing his durability even though he landed on the injured list right at the end of September. But here is where it gets interesting. Remember the playoffs? The 36-year-old returned from his injury as a reliever in the American League Championship Series before becoming one of the Blue Jays' most trusted weapons in the World Series against the Los Angeles Dodgers. He was lights out. He gave up just 1 run on 3 hits across 8 2/3 innings out of the bullpen in the postseason. Bullpen Bassitt was a completely different beast. He threw his fastballs harder, he simplified his massive repertoire, and he attacked hitters way more aggressively than he did during the regular season. He handled those pressure-packed situations with the cool demeanor you only get from an 11-year veteran. Adding this mix of composure and savviness would be a serious boost to a Blue Jays bullpen that, let's be honest, is not without its question marks heading into the 2026 season. Having Bassitt as an option would give manager John Schneider an arm he could trust in any meaningful situation. Tactically, this makes perfect sense. The Blue Jays love funky pitchers who make hitters uncomfortable. Look at how effective guys with unique deliveries are. Bassitt is exactly that type of uncomfortable at bat with his 3/4 arm angle and his 8-pitch arsenal. In this era of baseball, where teams are preparing using advanced track jet machines, confusion and deception are increasingly important. Plus, having Bassitt, like Eric Lauer, would provide valuable starting pitching depth in case of an injury. We know the Blue Jays rotation appears loaded on paper right now, but the old adage about never having too much pitching always rings true over the course of a 162-game season. There is also the leadership factor. Bassitt and fellow veteran Max Scherzer were 2 of the most important voices on the 2025 Blue Jays. Losing both of them in one offseason could have unfortunate repercussions from a culture standpoint. Now, the most likely outcome for Bassitt is that he signs a deal with a new team willing to pencil him into their opening day rotation. Plenty of teams around the league would love to have him as their 3rd or 4th best option. But if none of those offers are to his liking, running it back with the Blue Jays as a reliever could make a lot of sense for both sides. And that wraps up the situation on Chris Bassitt. I have one final update left, and this one is huge for our offense. It is about a specific player who is going to benefit massively from the new automated ball strike system coming in 2026.
Update 3. The Robot Umpire Advantage. This Jay could have saved by new tech. And finally, for our 3rd and perhaps most intriguing update, we are looking at how a major rule change in 2026 could save the career of one of our fan favorites. The upcoming 2026 MLB season will feature the official implementation of the Automated Ball Strike, or ABS, challenge system in regular season games. While this changes the game for everyone, no player should be looking forward to this more than our very own second baseman and outfielder, Davis Schneider. Why? Because Schneider has had his fair share of calls going against him throughout his MLB career. In fact, the data suggests he could see the biggest benefits from the ABS system out of anyone on the entire 2026 squad. Let's look at the cold, hard numbers. Since making his debut in the majors in 2023, the 27-year-old utility man has ranked 1st in the entire league between 2023 and 2025 for the percentage of called strikes on pitches just outside of the strike zone. According to statistics courtesy of Chris Black, Schneider leads this unfortunate category at a whopping 29.9%. To give you context on how bad that is, the next closest player, Tyler Nevin, is considerably behind at 26.9%. That is a massive discrepancy. Basically, nearly 30% of the time he takes a pitch on the edge that is not a strike, the umpire calls it a strike anyway. Recall that Schneider was amidst a spectacular start to his MLB career in 2023, and he still had to endure this type of treatment. With all those non-strikes being called strikes, you have to wonder if his offensive numbers could have been astronomical if just a few of those calls went his way. Thankfully, Schneider will no longer have to worry about that issue this upcoming season. With the Blue Jays having the opportunity to challenge close calls using the ABS system, pitchers will be forced to actually pitch in the strike zone to get him out. This is absolutely key for his success going forward. Over the past couple of seasons, Schneider has had his struggles, batting just .205 with a .681 OPS. He has racked up 204 strikeouts in 217 games played. With the ABS system potentially on his side, we could see that strikeout rate drop dramatically while witnessing an uptick in his batting average and on-base percentage. Most importantly, Schneider is likely one of the bubble players heading into the 2026 campaign. This technology could end up being the difference between him finally cementing a permanent spot on the Blue Jays roster or seeing his tenure with the organization come to an end. So, there you have it, Jays Nation. 3 massive updates that could define our 2026 season. We have the front office potentially re-entering the race for ace Framber Valdez to create a super rotation. We have the intriguing possibility of bringing back Chris Bassitt as a high-leverage bullpen beast. And finally, we have Davis Schneider, who might just become an on-base machine thanks to the new robot umpires. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these moves do you think is the most important? Should we spend the money on Valdez, or is the bullpen the bigger priority? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Toronto Blue Jays News Network. If you enjoyed this update, please smash that like button and subscribe for more daily Blue Jays news. Stay safe, and as always, let's go Blue Jays!